Hello friends, this is Terry from Genki Gaming TV, and this is a video that we have waited to get out to you for a little while. AKA, I had a lot of work to do in March while I was working on this, and this is a really long script because there is a lot of different stories. So I had to basically sift through them and find the ones that work best for our Origins video. What's the difference between a yokai and an Onryo? Let's first talk about what exactly an Onryo is. In Japanese, the traditional beliefs in literature regarding an Onryo refer to them as vengeful spirits. It also sometimes is used in some contexts to refer to, or they are referred to as wrathful spirits, which kind of walk the line between being a yurei, or like a ghost, and being like a geist, or another form of spirit. These spirits basically are vengeful, angry, and they want to enact their vengeance. They don't care for the life of the person that wronged them. They will do anything in their power to injure, kill, or do anything that would make their person's life much more horrible. They have even been known to cause natural disasters to exact revenge when they have been wronged while they were alive. The term Onryo sometimes overlaps with Go-ryo, except that in culture, a Go-ryo acts to its own agenda, which isn't necessarily the agenda of someone being wrathful or a spirit being wrathful. It's a little bit different. It's like a little bit of a gray area. It's like the same gray area between like a minor league football player and a major league football player, like another sport. The existence of Onryo can be tracked back as far as the 8th century, and was based upon the idea that when certain people die, their souls become enraged and can be influenced to harm others. One of the earliest accounts of an Onryo being developed, or like Onryo occurring, was around Prince Nagaya, who died in 729. This was the first recording of a possession by a Onryo spirit. It affected and its effects on health. And this is in the chronicle, I believe, recorded by Shoku Nihongi, or the Shoku Nihongi, from 797. This states that Fujiwara Hirosugi's spirit harmed Ginbo to death. Hirosugu, having died in a failed insurrection, named the Fujiwara no Hirosugu Rebellion, failing to remove his rival, the priest Ginbo, from power. Traditionally, in Japan, Onryo, driven by vengeance, were thought capable of causing not only their enemy's death, as in the case of Hirosugu's vengeful spirit, which is held responsible for killing the priest Ginbo, but causing earthquakes, fires, storms, droughts, famines, and pestilence. As in the case of Prince Suwara's spirit, embittered against his brother during that period of time, the Emperor Kanmu. In common parlance, such vengeance exacted by supernatural beings or forces is termed Tatali, which is like coarse or divine punishment. In this situation, the Emperor Kanmu had accused his brother Sawara, possible that this is like a false accusation, of plotting to remove him as a rival to the throne. The leader, who was exiled, died by fasting. The reason that the emperor moved the capital to Nagokapyo, which is like Kyoto, was an attempt to avoid the wrath of his brother's spirit, according to a number of scholars. This was not successful. The emperor tried to lift the curse by appeasing his brother's ghost by performing a Buddhist rite that would pay respect and grant Prince Sawara the posthumous title of emperor, but that didn't really work. A well-known example of appeasement of an Onryo spirit is in the case of Sugawara no Michizune, who has been in a political situation that caused him to become disgraced, and he died in exile. And people believed that he had become an Onryo because catastrophes were caused, such as lightning damage. The court tried to appease the wrathful spirit by restoring Michizane's old rank and position. Michizane became defiled in the cult of the Tenjin, or like within the temple or shrine. Tenman-gu shrine was erected around him. Another famous Onryo is Oiwa, from the Yotsuya Kaidan. In this story, the husband remains unharmed, but he is targeted by a dangerous Onryo seeking vengeance on him. But it's not like physical retribution, it's psychological damage. How the man's wife became a vengeful spirit and how her malignity was diverted by the mastery of divination. So as you guys can see, there are a lot of stories about Onryo. We're going to cover a little bit more here. I actually had written like 3 pages of source material for this, but there's a lot out there that describes the wrath, the anger, and how all of this associates with an Onryo and how it differs from a yokai. But let's get back to this story. In this particular tale from a medieval collection, Kanjaku Monogatari, an abandoned wife is found dead with a full head of hair intact and the bones still attached. The husband, fearing retribution from her spirit, asks the omyoji, or a diviner, for aid. The husband must endure while grabbing her hair and riding astride the corpse. She complains of the heavy load and leaves the house to go look, presumably for the husband. But after a day, she gives up and returns, after which the diviner is able to complete her exorcism with an incantation. So basically, the husband followed the orders of a omyoji, which is like a powerful diviner. Imagine a priest, but imagine like Akinori, but with much more strength, much more power. But Akinori and Hime are like the right direction of what this omyoji would be. Like they are the beginning, or their training. It's that of the beginning of like a proper diviner. But here's another one about a broken promise. In this tale from the Izumo area, recorded by La Ficadio Hirin, a samurai vows to his dying wife never to remarry, but surprise, surprise, he does. He soon breaks the promise. The ghost comes to first warn and then murder the young bride by ripping her head off. The watchman, who had been put to sleep, chases down the apparition and with a single slash of the sword while reciting a Buddhist prayer destroys it. There are the main representation of a Onryo in Japanese folklore has always been a woman, even though there are male cases of Onryo as well, which are, I won't say extremely rare, but it's more or less uncommon. They were peaceful at first and inoffensive in life and are victims of love, betrayals. So Onryos are actually affected by tragedies and like horrible things happening around them. Yokai, on the other hand, in some situations can't cross over because of having to fulfill a goal, having to do something not typically vengeance, not typically wrathful, but having to fulfill a particular need or desire. So yokai, in a general sense, have a longing to fulfill something or something that binds them to the living world that is not necessarily hate-related. I know in some situations there are a few yokai that are bound to this world by hate or by suffering or by needing to seek vengeance, but typically this is not the case. Normally it's like Jibanyan, the truck, and Emmy. It's normally that situation. Or normally, like, anything else you can possibly think of. Like, a grandpa forgot to turn something off. Like, your grandpa forgot to turn off the oven and is now staying on Earth in order to prevent someone else from having a fire. Like, I'm giving you the most vague example of what could cause someone to not pass over and to kind of over time become a yokai, but you guys are getting the point. So let's get on to two more Onryo related topics, and that is appearance. Typically speaking, an Onryo will be 10, well, I won't say 10 times scarier, but the image of an Onryo will be scarier than your typical yokai. Because they died due to jealousy, rage, hatred, wrath, vengeance. Like, they died with all of this in their mind or in their souls. Some were victims of a lover's squabble. Some were victims of isolation, being exiled. Some were even victims of war, catastrophe, betrayal, murder, or suicide. But they all have the same general motives. They all are pale, sometimes bloody, sometimes wearing a mask, sometimes with the look of horror upon their face or the look of pure vengeance, ready to hunt down the one who has wronged them. And we know that their motive is always consistently the same: revenge, vengeance, needing to one-up the person, not necessarily kill them. You can drive one insane, you can haunt someone, you can possess someone, you can torture them, they can suffer, you can make one of their loved ones suffer while they watch, which is 10 times as bad. You can inflict curses, contagious disease, create a circle of death or destruction around them. Onryo are serious. They hold these horrible grudges and curses forever. And I'm not saying this as to understate the situation, but by Academy, a majority of the Onryo we have experienced have had minor issues. And like some of them have had serious issues. You guys know who I'm referring to. Like Broken Clock. That was kind of a more serious note because it's like a children's show. Like the Broken Clock story is kind of one of the more Onryo that we've dealt with. And even the frog that was killed by Gravura magazine, that's kind of an Onryo. But the frog did not really seek like true vengeance. Like the frog wasn't going to kill the principal, Kinyo Daioji. It just wanted to release his dirty little secret out of among the populace and embarrass him. And sometimes embarrassment is all you gotta do. So let's continue on here. And I know this video is a little longer and I do appreciate your support. So you guys asked me, what is truly the difference? Yokai are a class of supernatural monster, spirit, demon, oni, kappa, tengu, whatever you want to classify them as within the generalized folklore. The kanji that actually make up the word yokai are from bewitching, attractive, calamity, specter, and apparition. Yokai often possess animal-like features, kind of like the kappa, the tengu to some degree, kitsune, okame, like stuff to that degree. And like some of them, like the nekomata, are more, I don't want to say more animalistic, but they have more animalistic traits. Yokai are actually much more complex than a Onryo, and they can actually be divided into several different subcategories. A yokai can have a true form, can have human-like attributes, can have animal-like attributes, can have plant-like attributes, can actually be an object, or can be caused by a reaction of a natural phenomenon that had caused the spirit particular harm. And some spirits can actually be mutated by the world itself, causing the reincarnation or causing like a mental breakdown within reincarnation that would cause a yokai to occur or something to be converted to a yokai. And based upon like external appearances like the animal traits, human traits, plants, artifacts, structures, natural objects or phenomenon, yokai aren't as grudgeful or hateful as a Onryo. There's a line that separates the two supernatural beings from each other within mythos. In the pieces that I found and that I've read, they hardly ever refer or reference yokai while talking about Onryo, because they're two separate entities. And that's really it. There are references to Nigi Mitamas, which bring good luck, and they can sometimes be yokai, and they can sometimes be used against Onryos. And there's also other Mitamas, which can be inspirited to bring ill fortune, including illness and natural disaster. The Nigi Mitama bring good fortune, such as like bountiful harvest, good luck, positivity. But these Mitamas can be influenced by yokai and Onryo alike. And there's also like rituals used to like purge the mitamas, to purify them so that both them and the yokai are both safe. But yeah, that's really it for all of this. I could probably do some Mitama research as well, because some of the stuff I just found was rather basic. And I apologize for this video taking so much time. And I know that there's other stories I could have referenced, there's other things that I could have referenced that reflects the differences between a Onryo and a yokai. One of the things I want to bring up here at the end is the idea of Onryo and the idea of yokai come from two separate Shinto and Buddhist religious lore. And some of this actually comes from like right before that stuff starts to kick into effect. Like before these two religions kick into effect or are fully in effect within the masses of Japan. There are stories of like goblins and onis and like different creatures. Even like right before that, as I accidentally turned on my PlayStation 4. But yeah, I want to say that's it, guys. I want to thank you all for watching and tell you to have an amazing rest of your morning, afternoon, and or evening. Most likely this is going out in the evening. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you guys have a suggestion for another topic, I'd be happy to research and cover that for you as well. Here's hoping that this video gets like 50 likes or something crazy like that, because I'd be super duper appreciative of it.